So this is gonna sound so weird, but I don't really care. Um, I recently watched the second um season of Solo Leveling, and for some reason, after watching that, I'm starting to realize that I probably won't be able to watch a show normally ever again, which isn't a bad thing. I think now I'm just like so. I feel like I've never been this present before, and so my brain wants to literally dissect everything that I watch, everything that I hear, everything that I like listen to. It's like trying to dissect everything so like to the micro level. And I've never been this like intense with things before. But anytime I like listen to songs, I'm like, if this song doesn't make me feel something, then I'm taking it off my playlist. So I've been like really like taking a lot of things out and like just clearing things out that just don't really resonate with me anymore, because I've been having like a lot of like intense like sad songs on my playlist for a really long time now, and I decided to just take those off and just being like, I don't really need those anymore. They serve their purpose. They helped me feel the sadness without knowing how to feel the sadness. If that makes sense. I'm seeing um 8888. So if that's significant for you, then I've been seeing a lot of eights as well. Um so while I'm watching shows or while I'm like reading a book or listening to an audiobook, I've noticed that I need to have my notes open while I'm watching a movie that really interests me or listen to a song that really interests me, makes something inside of me move. I'm very like, I take everything very deeply, meaning that like there must be a reason for everything. There's a deep reason for everything. There's a deep reason why, someone is watching this show around me. There's a deep reason why we're watching this movie right now. Like, I take everything so very deeply when it needs to be. Sometimes even comedy movies can be like answer a lot of questions that you've been having spiritually, because as you know that sometimes when we're meditating or being very spiritual, sometimes it's really hard to receive a message that you've been wanting, because some people feel like they have like this like open connectiveness with the divine, so they just ask a question and then they just get an answer. And I feel like I'm not there yet. Like, I'm not um to that point yet where I'm like, I hear something and I trust it 100%. So sometimes I hear things and then I like wait for a confirmation. So I wait for like for me to see something, and in order for me to like, I already think I have a deep knowing that this is how it works. I trust myself completely, so if I have an idea, I'm just like, I'm gonna go for it because I believe in it. That's all that I don't need permission to be myself, because for the longest time I feel like I've needed permission to be myself and to like show up as myself everywhere I went. I felt like I needed permission. And I'm just like, I'm moving that out of the way, and I'm just like, I don't need permission to be myself. So if you like, in my head, I'm like, if people find me weird, if people find me like I'm a lot, then I really don't care. I used to always care, like, I want everyone to see me as very enjoyable and like nice and all of these like things. But now I'm like, well, I hope that they knew that, I'm being like pushy with them, because I'm just letting you know that I don't need this in my life. I don't need this idea in my life. That could be your idea. That's perfect. That's just not how I think, and I'm not making you think the way I'm thinking. And I think that's what has been stopping me from going to church a lot, because like there's like some kind of feeling where it's like this book knows everything and we don't really question it kind of feeling. Maybe it's different with other people, but that's the feeling I've been getting a lot lately with everybody. Like, sharing a story or sharing something that you believe, and someone's like, well, do you go to church? And it's like, I don't find that question offensive. I just find that question, well, like, yes, the church has a very vital information about love and about community, but it also is very fear mongering sometimes, where it means that like if you don't follow these steps, then something might happen or someone might not love you, something like that, right? And for me, there's no fear mongering in my heart. So I believe that no matter what you do, your God, universe, your angels are gonna love you unconditionally no matter what. So whenever like people are like, whenever a child is told like, oh well, if you do that, God's not gonna love you, like that breaks my heart into like a million pieces. Because like I was told that as a kid, like God doesn't like people who ask too many questions. God doesn't like, you know, people who question the system. Basically how they were saying it to me as a kid, right? So that breaks my heart anytime someone's like, you do this and they're not going to love you. And I'm just like, how could you ever tell that to your own child or to yourself? I feel like that's just so saddening that you think that someone's going to stop loving you just because you're making mistakes. Like, yes, own up to your mistakes and say, I made this mistake and I learned from it and I'm moving on. Now, if you're making mistakes and you're not learning from them, then don't be surprised when you lose people. But like if you're making a mistake and you own up to it and you're just like, I made the mistake and I'm learning from it and I'm moving on and I'm upgrading and I'm becoming better with every mistake, then okay, perfect, you're doing such an amazing job. But if you keep making the same mistake over and over again, they're still gonna love you. But don't be surprised when things feel stagnant, when you know, when you feel stuck, when you know that like, let's say that for me, something that made me feel very, like, I'm going to give you an example. Something that made me feel very stagnant was letting other people's energy bother me. Mainly saying that, like, if someone was angry around me, I would slowly become angry. And I would be like, why do I absorb these energies so easily? Like, have I been taught to do this, or am I just not handling my power correctly? And so one thing that I've been doing is alchemizing all of the energy that I'm getting into love. So basically, like I'm absorbing all of these like energies around me and absorbing them into my heart because my heart is just like a vessel of unconditional love. So I just let that energy come through me and then it just comes out of my solar plexus, like through like just cleansed and pure. And then I'm sending like the energy that they're sending me without even knowing, because like there's some people that send you energy intentionally, you know, whichever energy that they want to send you, right? They send it intentionally or unintentionally. So I'm taking that intentional energy and unintentional energy and alchemizing it into love. And that might sound very woo woo to some people, but if you're watching this video, you clicked on it, so you already knew it was going to be crazy to begin with. So if I look crazy to some people, I really don't care anymore. I've been crazy all my life. They've known this. I'm gonna be wild and I'm gonna share every single idea and how my brain works because it may be interesting to you, it may be interesting to somebody, but my brain is very analytical. Very analytical. So if I'm noticing I notice patterns with people. So I sometimes put these patterns to a test, mainly saying that like if someone seems that they don't want to be my friend anymore, I'm usually putting the patterns together. So I'm putting all the pieces together. How are they treating me? Are they treating me differently? Are they speaking to me differently? If they are, then why? Let's get to the why. I love asking questions, so sometimes I'm even bold enough to be like, I'm getting this different energy, like, can you kind of explain to me what's going on? And if they're not honest with me, then I kind of push them away. And then if they fall off completely and we don't ever speak again, then I'm gonna take that as a sign that you knew, that I knew, that it needed to end. Our friendship just wasn't helping me, and it wasn't helping you grow at all. Um, it's really easy for me to let go of people, like extremely easy to the point that it kind of scares me. Like I can spend like years, like I spent years with my family and then, you know, I just didn't feel like I was growing with them anymore. Like we were going two different ways. And it doesn't mean that I don't love them anymore. It just means that I'm okay with that, bringing that space between us. Like anybody that I cut out of my life, like I put space between us, and I either like see if you're growing, right, and you're learning from your mistakes, like I let you back in, but with limited trust now. So I don't like fully open my heart to you quite yet. So sometimes I'm a little protective, but I still love you. Still so much love there. Like my heart, no matter what you do to me, my heart will always love. But my solar plexus, that like intense, like creative energy, that passion, it's like the three lower chakras have so much strength in them that I know how to set boundaries and how to like, even like one toe crossed against that boundary, it's like you're out of here, buddy. And I've been like that all my life. Like even if like my self-worth wasn't really up there, sometimes 11 wasn't up there all the time, I still respected myself enough to be like, you don't give a fuck about me, so I'm leaving, or I'm leaving the situation. Like if you ever disrespect me, you know that I know that you're disrespecting me. I'm not stupid. Like some people are like, oh well, she's so ditzy, she's so like sweet and cute, she's not gonna care and she's not gonna put up boundaries or anything. Bitch, as soon as I see that you're like stepping against my boundaries, you're out of here. That's just it. You're out of here. Or I'm gonna call you out on your shit. I'm gonna be like, well, you know I don't like talking about that, right? And that's okay to not want to talk about things. Like if something's a little too triggering, you can tell somebody I don't want to talk about it. You can talk about it with someone else. I just don't feel like talking about it yet because I haven't moved through it. So I don't know how to help you because I haven't been through that. And that's okay to say, like I can be here and help you and listen to you, but whenever my body tells me that I'm exhausted and I need to like rest and not take any more energy in, 12:22, then I'm gonna set that boundary and say I don't want to see anybody for a whole week, and you're gonna have to be okay with it. That's just been my energy like all my life, because my boundaries have been pushed to like non-existent levels as a kid, to the point that I'm an adult. I create my own reality. I can choose if I want you in my life or not. So it's like you're in my life because I want you in my life, not because I need you in my life. Like I always remind myself I don't need anybody, but I choose them because I love them, and they show me that love back. They show me that unconditional love, because when I love so deeply to the point that it's like, and I have worked on this a lot, so I only give as much as I can give. Before 1313, divine feminine energy. Um, I used to give until like I was completely dry, right? But now it's like I give to the point that it's very healthy, and I let you know, like, hey, I need a break from, going out. I need a break from talking. 333. I need a break from like life right now. So sometimes I just come out here and meditate and just like drink tea and listen to music, and I have not one single thought. It's so crazy. Not one single thought go through my brain. I'm just existing and being happy to be alive and like recharging my battery. I don't know why I felt like I needed to say that. I originally was making this video because I was gonna say, wow, I'm a nerd, that I can't watch movies the same anymore, because I literally have like this. Um, Anytime I'm watching a movie, I always have my phone out, 1414, and I'm always writing notes about it. So I'm always writing like, what's the deeper meaning about this movie, or what's the deeper meaning about this show or something. And I'm pretty sure other people do it as well, but I just find it so fascinating when you can watch a show and go deeper than what you see on the surface. So this is what I wrote. It may not make sense because I was writing and watching at the same time, but I'm gonna read what I have on here. So I put, solo leveling is spiritual. It's crazy. instead of instead of an Anakin situation, because you know how like he was like handed all of his power, um he could have easily used his power for bad. He could have easily used his power for bad. Like he could have easily like had an Anakin situation. But he like literally was like, I'm not doing that. Like I was treated like basically shit all of my life. Like no one cared about me. He could have had that Anakin moment where I was an underdog and no one cared about me, so I'm not gonna care about anyone else. But his heart was just so big and beautiful that he was like, I'm just gonna like be myself. Like and I think that's what like I feel like that's what caused his reawakening. Is like he got stronger because he was not afraid to be himself, and he was like, even though I'm in this dangerous situation, I'm gonna give it my all. Even though I'm going through this, I'm gonna give it my all, and I'm going to love myself no matter what. 555 1555. And I felt like that was so beautiful. Like this second season has been like it was so amazing. I do need to put um I do need to say spoiler alert. Sorry, I completely forgot about that. To say like I will be talking about like the whole second season. I'm not going to be touching on everything, but everything that these notes talk about, I'm going to be like talking about is like the second season and how amazing and beautiful it was written. And I was reading so many reviews about the second season of Solo Leveling, and they were just like, you know, they made it too fast, they rushed through it, they did this, it's not following the manga. And honestly, as someone who doesn't read, sorry. Um, I listen to audiobooks, I watch animated shows, all of this stuff, right? So if there's a book and there's a movie about it, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna actually 10 10 times out of 10, I'm just gonna watch the movie and not read the books. I mean, I can listen to the audiobooks, I can completely do that. I love audiobooks. But I just don't like reading. So the mangas and stuff, just not my cup of tea. So like I understand that you want the show to be the same as the book, but when has that ever happened? In my opinion, it's never happened. So you're gonna have to let go of that. Or make your own anime and write a manga and make it completely go the anime go completely by the manga. Sorry, you're not the creator of this. You're just gonna have to take what you get. And you can complain. I feel like everyone has like their opinion about stuff, right? Because you don't have to take in my opinion about this show. You don't have to take this show that deeply. But for the people who want to take this show deeply, like this is perfect. And maybe I will find a community who like goes as deeply as me, because I love going so deep into shows and like so deep into life. Like when something happens, like I find the deeper meaning when, and I feel like deeper meaning, I mean like the perspective of everything, like everyone's perspective in this situation. Like I can easily like open my mind up to different perspectives, and I think that's what makes me so open-minded, is that the more perspectives that you see, the more information that you're getting from the situation. So I love new perspectives. I love keeping my mind open to new perspectives. I literally just I'm gonna look up the name. Yeah, I've been opening like, sorry, it cut out on me. I was trying to look up the name of the book and I just remembered that I have my laptop right here. I did not have to end that. I did not have to end that. It's okay. It's alright. So, the audiobook that I just got is The Doors of Perception by Aldous Huxley? Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Um, and it basically is like this, like, audiobook about him, like, and I feel like if I understood it correctly, I think it's just other scientists. Dorito. Sorry, my cat's trying to come on this table, jump on this table that I'm recording on, and I don't want everything to fall. Sorry. If I'm remembering correctly, I think it's about like him and different scientists. Um, I guess kind of having like the psychedelic experience and being able to see more than what life is showing them. 111 as I'm seeing it. But I think like all of like they were going through experiments to see like what they could see. If I remember correctly, I think that's what it was. But honestly, it is a little boring to listen to. I'm not gonna lie. The book was like I think published in 19 in the 1950s. Um, 1954 it was published. So it's a little slow, but it's really nice, especially like if you've had your own psychedelic experience, you kind of understand his perception and how beautiful it is. And I'm not sure if you need to take psychedelics to be that see all those perceptions. But as long like I mean, as far as I know, I took psychedelics at a pretty young age, and I feel like it could go either way. It can go like you're completely like in shock and in fear of everything that you saw, or you kind of just go with it. um, and I saw some crazy shit on my first trip, to the point that I was like, wow, I want to do that again. Because I've always loved my emotions so much, to the point that it's like if I'm angry, I want to know why, and then I want to let go of why I'm angry. I've never liked having um, an emotion too long in my heart. Like every emotion is treated the same. So like if I'm happy, it's treated the same as sadness. If I'm like joyful, it's treated the same as like hurt or depressed. And like there were moments where it's like I would hold on to emotions for too long, and then it would become this whole cycle of depression. So that's why now I see every emotion as the same thing. So I don't put happiness and joy on a pedestal, because I love feeling all of my emotions, because I just love feeling love. Like I love loving all of my emotions. Like I really do. Like when people see me cry, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like, why are you crying?" And I'm like, "No, crying is so beautiful. It's so freeing. Like, I love doing it." And honestly, if I could do it every single moment of my life, I would. Honestly, because there's so much to be thankful for and so much things to be grateful for in life. To the point that like you have to remember that this isn't forever. Like you're gonna die one day. Like I hope you realize that. And I'm sorry if that's triggering or hard for you to think about, but you have to realize that you're gonna die one day. You're not gonna be here forever. The people that you love aren't gonna be here forever. I'm sorry for being such a Debbie Downer, because I know death is really weird to some people, but death is not weird to me. So it's really hard to be with people that have lost somebody, because I see death as something so beautiful. Like when you lose somebody, you have just gained an angel on the other side. Like how beautiful is that? Like I haven't lost anybody like in my immediate family, to the point that I'm like I'm so protected that I have ancestors, obviously, like my lineage and stuff, protecting me and guiding me, but I feel like I'm guiding and protecting myself so much that it doesn't feel like I need anyone else to do that for me. 444 on the timer. Like I feel so connected to myself spiritually that I feel like I guide myself. The more I am myself, the more I'm guiding myself. Like I used to hate myself so much. I'm being so vulnerable right now, but I used to like hate everything about myself. Literally. The way that I talked, the way that I smiled, the way that I laughed, the way that I looked, everything I hated. And I literally just like sat with myself and I was like, what what's going on? Like why are you feeling like this? And this isn't you. Like you're so loving and so kind to everyone else. Like why aren't you loving and kind to yourself? Like that doesn't make any sense. Make that make sense. So I literally just sat with myself and I was like, it's time to put your crown back on, because what? Why are you giving other people power over your own energy? Like that's really weird. And so It literally took like 6 months to literally let go of everything. Like, I was like, I'm so beautiful and so powerful and so magnetic and creative and amazing. Nothing scares me. Like, what scares me is being the same. What scares me is not growing. What scares me is not learning from my mistakes. Like, if I'm not learning, then what am I doing? If I'm not feeling my emotions, then I am storing them. Why would I want to store something that I don't even like? And then, like, I understand that when you're feeling happiness and joy, you want to feel it all the time, but you can literally feel happy and joyful because you're alive. Like, what a fucking blessing it is to be alive and to be well. Like, I think sometimes we take that for granted, is like, I'm healthy, and I love that. And whenever I store my emotions, I become unhealthy. Your body speaks so much. Like, your body tells you what it needs. All you need to do is just slow down and listen. Trust me. Because I would get sick time and time and time again, and I would be like, what is going on? And as soon as I stopped, like, holding in my emotions and, like, not being myself, literally everything felt like it went away. And I'm just being authentically me. And I have not been authentically me all my life. So if anyone's like, you're too loud, you're too talkative, you're too this, I don't give a fuck. I'm popping that little bubble. That's not me. You may feel like you can't be yourself, and I'm sorry that you can't be yourself. But just because you can't be yourself doesn't mean that you have to push me down to your level. And sometimes people do this without realizing it, or some people do it without thinking it's gonna hurt the other person. But being in my position where it's like someone was trying to break you down so bad that you lost yourself and you found yourself again, and then you're over here saying weird shit like, you're being too loud, you're being too this, like, cover your ears, get out of the room. I don't know what to tell you. I have never been like this my entire life, and you're not gonna, like, push me down. Like, I'm tired of that. That's not gonna be me again. So if I ever find people that, like, unintentionally do that, I just, like, let them know, like, you do realize what I've been through, and I'm gonna be myself. And I'm like, I don't apologize if that's too much for you. If I'm too much for you, then bye. I don't want to be too much for anybody because I'm not too much for myself. That's just the truth. And maybe that's the Leo in me, and I don't care. I love myself. Literally, like, I'm obsessed with myself, and I love it. I think I used to not be obsessed with myself. Well, I used to be obsessed with myself, like, by myself and never in front of other people. But now I'm, like, obsessed with myself regardless of where I'm at. So I completely forgot where I was talking about this. I'm, like, going everywhere with this. But so the next thing, well, the one thing that I put is it could have been an Anakin situation, right? But he uses all, like, the knowledge and information for, like, good, because he knows that his end goal, all he's doing all of this for his mom. Like, he's not doing this for himself. Like, he's not trying to be better than anybody else. Like, he started this mission because he wanted to help his mom, and love literally was his driving point. And when I'm saying that, when love is literally steering you into the right direction, that will be life changing. When you let love guide you, oh my god, you are going to be so powerful once you realize that when love guides you, you are unstoppable. Like, you step into your power, you remember who you are, you realize what you're here for, and you realize that maybe this human experience isn't that bad. Like, obviously I'll have some stagnant moments and have some moments where I don't know what I'm gonna do next, but I can just ask myself, or, like, ask the universe for signs. Like, I'm never alone, and 10 10 10 10 10 on the clock, so that may be significant. But what I love about this is that, like, I feel like this whole anime is, like, has been such a beautiful, like, a guidebook for me. Mainly because, like, all of my life I wanted love to guide me, but I kept getting every single reason not to let love guide me. And I was like, no, I'm gonna be guided by love no matter what. And that's what I'm doing, and I'm never gonna let that go, because love has been with me even through the darkest moments of my entire life. So let's keep going. It says, because all S ranks would just fight portals and then leave, not caring about the results of the NPC. But he brought a consciousness to the world, to like the portal worlds, and he basically found a cheat code, right? He found this cheat code where he didn't even have to fight these monsters anymore, and he could literally just get to the level he needed to go to get, you know, these items he needed for his mom. So he's like, and if he needed to fight, he was gonna fight with his whole power, right? And the beautiful thing is that every single time he like want to fight, you know, everyone that he went against became part of his team except one, right? Except one person he couldn't get on his team, as far as we know. But what's so crazy is that he has this like army, this brigade of like of people, and I was wondering, and I don't know if the show is gonna get this deep, but I was wondering if they keep their consciousness, their memories, or are they just following his orders completely, no matter what? Maybe that's a little too deep, but I'm just wanting to know, like, if it gets deeper from here. So he basically like finds a cheat code, and he no longer even has to fight. So he basically defeats like the upper, you know, whoever's in charge of this portal. He beats them, and then he basically frees everybody in that portal, and they can just do whatever they want. So he saves them in a sense, right? Because he's just like saving them for the item he needs, but he's also bringing consciousness and love to these portals that he's going to that don't know anything but fear. Because the only reason that they're fighting him is through fear. Any reason that they're fighting anybody is through fear of the upper, like, I don't know what to call them. I'm pretty sure there's a name for them, but it's slipping my mind. But that's so crazy that he was able to bring consciousness and basically free a family from like having to go to war. I feel like that was so beautiful. And it's like it says he no longer has to fight to go to the next door because because he let his team fight for him. It's like trusting the universe and getting out of your own way. I think that's what is also really beautiful, is that if you tell somebody your intention, or you tell somebody you're being vulnerable, like, this is my goal in life, this is my goal in life, maybe some doors will open for you if you just let someone know that, you know, this sounds so crazy, but my purpose, I want my purpose to be love. Like, for me, like, I'm hoping to one day be able to, I don't know, bring a community in through YouTube, and just be a, like, have a community full of like loving beings, because I know that there's like this mass awakening that's happening, and I cannot wait to see how the world changes, honestly, because like it feels like, not exaggerating, it feels like we're bringing peace back into earth, like we're bringing so much love and so much balance into this, into our own reality, because you choosing love, you're choosing love into your own life too. So whatever you're doing to yourself, you're doing to your outer world. So if you're loving yourself, your outer world, I feel like, is going to mirror that to you, and it's going to mirror all that love back to you. Because the more vulnerability that I show, the more safety I feel in my own reality, the more love I give to myself, the more love that is all around me and that is given to me as well. The only thing that I'm fixing my relationship with is my finances. So we'll see how that goes. I'm letting go of a lot of like limiting beliefs about that, like, because I know it's not good to have money on a pedestal, but I had it on a pedestal, but not like I would do anything for it kind of pedestal. It was like, I'm willing to work at a job I don't like for money pedestal, and thinking that this is the only way I can get abundance. So I'm, you know, trying to break all of those thoughts, that I can work hard on something that I love, like talking on here, or literally just moving through my emotions to be more of myself. So maybe being more of myself will open more doors. Could be a confirmation for you too. Okay. So it's like trusting the universe. And if you don't understand what I'm talking about here with solo leveling, I'm so sorry, but I really wanted to talk about it. And if you don't understand, I highly recommend you watch it because I think it's so beautiful. So it's like he's really getting out of his own way and he's just trusting the people around him, his brigade, his heart, basically, right? So he's letting himself guide himself without even knowing. Like he's letting love guide him, and he is love, so he's guiding himself, basically, because we're all love. And it says, he's getting out of his own way, having the demons try to fight the urge to join his team. Showing them who they can trust. Do I understand why I wrote that? I don't know. I wonder what was going on whenever I wrote that. Oh, I understand why I was writing that. So I'm not really good with names. So, but there was a scene where he like runs into, like, I think it was the last portal he was in. He went in and he basically showed them like, I'm, who's your problem? I'm willing to like fight your problem, and I'm just showing you that you can trust me. It would be easier if I could remember the scene of it, but if you've seen it, you probably know, right? Should have written some names down. I'm gonna get better at having names recalling in my head. Oh, sorry, that scared me. My neighbor's dogs. I have a squirrel up there that sounded like it was laughing. Oh man. So, and then I have, I think the name is Igris, right? Is a name that I'm remembering. Give me a second. So now I'm remembering like why I wrote this. So he only remembers Igris. I think that's his name. So he's only able to remember that because that was the first like experience. I want to say like the first intense experience that like changed his entire life, literally like changed his entire perspective and made him realize how powerful he was. And then I also have, because he thought he was gonna die, so that really started his awakening. Is like not having the fear of death. Basically, for a moment, was like, wow, I'm so powerful. And it's like one of the things that I wrote is either his dad is the 10th or he's the 11th, because remember whenever they were talking about the island and saying that like I think they said that they needed 11 S ranks, or they were saying 11 heroes in total, then that's whenever that island was gonna start like attacking them. So my conclusion is that like his dad came back, and I don't know what the purpose of his dad was. Maybe his purpose, he also wanted to fight for like the elixir of life. Maybe he went there for his wife, try to find some answers. Maybe we're not too sure yet, but I can't wait until we figure that out. And it's like that's why the animals are attacking the island, because they already have all of the team formed, because they don't even know that his dad is an S, or maybe they do, but now they figured out that he is an S. So, and it's like trust and what you wish for will be more than you asked for. So I'm going deep into this. 2020, I just saw. But he was basically saying that like if you trust, then you're gonna get more than what you ask for, because he basically like, I guess put this together, didn't he? He put all the ingredients together to get the elixir of life, and he, instead of just getting one, he got 6 of them. Like what the heck? Um, and so he may be collecting them for different people. We have a lot of people on the list that could be that this elixir of life can really help. Um, and he's basically like collecting a following from the portal. So he's basically like, I don't know whether it means that he's freeing them from the portal, like whenever he's defeating them. Like, is there like a higher purpose to this? Like, is he freeing them from the portals, or is he just wanting them to be part of his team? I don't know. And it's like creating a physical team after he created his spiritual team. So I feel like this could be a very like spiritual significance, is that when you create your spiritual team, that helps you create your physical team. So when you trust yourself and you love yourself enough to be yourself, other people see that, and you basically attract people who like want to be part of your team, who want to like, I don't know, basically like they have the same goal as you, so they are ready to like to trust in something more powerful than themselves, right? It's like going to church and like knowing that God has your back, and like you're willing to go to church every Sunday to remember all of his love. Well, instead of me going to church, it's like anytime I'm out here meditating and I like go into my heart space, it's like me going to church, because like I trust in myself so deeply that I know that I can guide myself. Very woo-woo stuff here. So I may not post this as a solo leveling like thing, because at first I was like, I'm just gonna talk about solo leveling and that's it, like how crazy it is and how spiritual it is. But then I was like, I'm getting a lot of messages through this, so maybe it's just gonna be like, you know, life is deeper than you think. Maybe that's what the title will be. It's like he so basically, after you create your spiritual team, you start creating your physical team. Oh my god, my cat's gonna go back over there. Give me a second. So he was basically able to let the other team like put their barriers down, because like you have all of these like barriers because you're just not like trusting, like, and obviously like why would you trust so easily if you've been through so much shit, right? Well, I mean, like I could be asking myself the same questions. Like, I've been through so much shit, but I am deciding to trust anyways. But I'm using my discernment. So if I give you a little bit of my trust and you break it, then that's it. Like, I don't need you to break something 3 times in order for me to know you're not on my team. So I feel like discernment is such a like a powerful thing you need on your team in order to know, is this person on my team or is this person not on my team? So he's able to help other people put like their barriers down, and basically putting these barriers down is literally stopping wars from happening in these portals. And so I have question marks here, and so I'm like, so did, you know, after the war, did the race, like the human race, become more conscious? Or did the people in the portals become more conscious? Like, do they keep this consciousness even after he beats a portal or after he leaves a portal? Like, does it restart? Is it like a game? That's mainly my question too. And it says, they are scared to start a new one because that would force a massive awakening. I don't know what I meant by that whenever I wrote that. Let me see. Oh, um, hmm. So I want to say, oh, you know what I was trying to say is that if you've noticed the patterns after every war, it 25-25, after every war, right? So I wouldn't say like in solo leveling, but here like in the 3D, it feels like after every war there like is a mass awakening. Like there is like people are more awakened to things and how the system is very destructive and how it's very off balance. planets, how it has one above the other, and if you know, you know. So it's like now, like they're trying to like, and I'm not talking about solo leveling here, but I'm talking about like the real world, like our 3D world. It's like they're they're trying to do things under the carpet sometimes, so they're not like telling us everything that's happening because they don't want to start a new war, right? Because it feels like after every war there is this mass awakening, and I feel like that's what they're trying to prevent, because I feel like they know that they're so goofy that they can do whatever they want because people are so worried about bills, and they're worried about what are they going to do next and how am I going to survive. And so they're like, well, if they're worried about surviving, then they're not going to be worried about what we're doing up here because they're going to be too worried being down there, you know? If you know, you know. So that's basically what I got from that show, is that like after every level, right? So I would say like every level is a war basically, right? So he beat one of these and he would just keep going. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense to somebody. If it doesn't, well, it makes sense in my brain. My brain is going 100 miles an hour all the time. So if you wanted a sneak peek onto like my brain, this is what's going on. It's kind of crazy. Kind of is a funny word. I would say it's really crazy. It's really crazy. So basically, her love awakened him. So, what I mean by that, and I'm talking about solo leveling again. So, there was a scene, and I think it was in the beginning, or maybe it just happened, but there was like, he remembered a moment in time where he accidentally burned his mom, with a pan, right? And so he was like saying sorry, and he was like apologizing, and he's like, I'm so sorry, like as much as he could, right? He was saying like, I'm so sorry. And all she did was embrace him and love him. And I feel like that's what every parent should do, is that after every like mistake, right, that your child does, you should love them unconditionally, because they don't know what they're doing. They're trying to be humans, and if you know, being a human is not that easy. So be nice to yourself and be nice to the children that you have chosen to have, because honestly, some people should not be parents. But I know that everything happens for a reason, that maybe that child needed parents like that, because um, my parents should not have been parents. That's just the truth. So it says her love awakened him. So like whenever he felt all that love, even though he was scared of like getting like yelled at, or being angry at him, he had programmed in his mind like, when I make a mistake or when I accidentally hurt somebody, I still deserve love. And I think that was so beautiful. And it's like unconditional love is like so much more powerful than you think. And if you don't think unconditional love is powerful, baby, when you get unconditional love in your life, you start realizing how powerful that really is. And it's like his awakening is like not only helping like the world, but it's helping his world as well. It's like his mom has awakened from her sleep, hearing everything from her sleep. So she knew exactly what he needed to hear at that very moment. Like she was able to hear like him come back and like tell her everything, and be like, Mom, this is what I'm doing. Like I hope that I'm making you proud. I hope that you're happy. I hope you know all of these things. And I love that she woke up knowing that like he had been trying his very best, and all that he really needed was, I love you and I'm so proud of you, and just a hug, just a deep loving hug. And that made me cry so bad. I loved it. I could watch that scene a million times. So it was like that was all worth it. Like all of that sacrifice, his near death experience was all worth it because from the get go, from the beginning, he was doing this for his family. Even though he was in like an E rank, he was doing this for his family. Like he knew that he needed to sacrifice. If his sister was, going to school and his mom was in the coma and his dad had been lost, I guess, then he knew that, man, I have to make some sacrifices. And I feel like that was just so amazing that he was able to sacrifice all of that for love. And so it says they continue, and it's like nothing has changed, which was beautiful. I feel like for him it was so crazy. Like he's cleaning this whole apartment and like cleaning this up, and his mom is there, and he was like he had been dreaming about that all his life. Like he can't even believe that he's with his mom right now, and I think that's so beautiful. And so and he kind of feels, at least it feels like for like the viewer, like wow, everything is like it's never changed, but he knows he's changed. But it feels like his outer reality feels the same for right now, right? And I feel like that's in the position that I'm in right now, is that like I've been doing all of this work and like doing all of this inner work, but for some reason it still feels like my outer reality is not matching, right? But I know that soon it will. Once I become more vulnerable and more open about myself, I feel like more doors will open. And like I don't know exactly where to like share any of this information, so I like sharing it on YouTube, sharing how my brain works and how my mind works here without even thinking. Like I'm blabbering and I'm hoping it's making sense. Like I'm blabbering and trusting that this finds whoever it needs to find. And it's like that was all worth it and feels like nothing has changed. And I had question mark, and I said, was his dad looking for the elixir? Question mark, question mark. And hearing everyone's perspective was so amazing. Like being able to like step out and see like when they announced he was an S rank, you could see that like everyone that like you could everyone started showing their true colors to him when he was an E rank, so he knew exactly who was on his team and who wasn't on his team. It's like being an underdog and then stepping into your new like your true power in this life. It's like for me, I know that I was shy and not confident at all in the beginning of my life, but I'm like starting to step into this like power and know that like I am so powerful and I'm so amazing, and that no matter what, I'm going to achieve my dreams. I don't know how, but I'm going to continue following my heart, and I'm hoping that it pays off. I know that it's going to pay off. But I'm like, where do I even share this information? And I like was writing posts on Facebook, but I was like, I don't like reading. So maybe the collective doesn't like reading either. And I love listening to really long videos. So maybe this will resonate with someone. So it's like you can hear everyone's thoughts. That's basically what I was so wowed at. You can hear everyone's thoughts when they are so comfortable to. Oh yeah, that's what I was trying to write. Is that whenever like when the people around you are so vulnerable, they're able to tell you exactly what's going on in their mind. It's like wow, like it's like this new opening of perspective. Like you thought like this all of your life. That's beautiful. So maybe these videos will open up to people that I know in real life. Maybe I don't know, and be like, well, yeah, we knew she was crazy. This is just proof. I don't know. Who knows? I'm hoping good things. Good things. Good things. It's like now it's his job to teach the masters. So it's like each generation has a key, right? So every generation has had, like in real life and in this anime, right? Like we've had greats in every generation, and every generation like shows something different, and it awakens the younger generation or the older generation as well. But it's like he is basically now having to teach the masters, right? that they didn't even know that he existed. He's like having to teach them, like, well, this is how I'm using my mana, or like, I I don't know, we haven't gotten to that yet, but he's basically going to maybe open up and be vulnerable and say, like, this is what happened in my experience, and maybe that will open some kind of doors for other people. It's like, I just found a key, so does that mean it's my turn to step up into teaching the new masters? Right? So it's like, anytime I get these type of messages or any of these insights, I'm always like, am I supposed to be sharing these experiences with other people, and that will help them like understand themselves better and grow? I don't know, I'm testing it out, because there's only one way that this can go, is it's not really seen, or a lot of people are seen by my life experiences. Who knows? It's like, is that some, let me see, is that some information? So the more you level up, the more you unlock information. So whatever I wrote next to it afterwards, I don't know what I was writing, but I've been saying that the whole time, and then I remembered. So let me see if I can remember. Oh, you know what? That's what I was saying. Is that, like, have you ever like been on TikTok or been on YouTube, and like you're with these readers, and like these tarot readers, these channeled messages, right? They're getting these channeled messages, and you start understanding that some of them can only see so far. So I'm wondering, like, are they only able to see so far because your angels don't want you to see more, or is it because they can't see more? Like, that's what I always wondered about, like, people who channel messages, is that, like, whenever you say that you can't see more, I'm wondering, is it because the angels don't want us, the ones that you're reading for or giving messages to see more, or is it because it's time for us to find, like, because I've followed so many, like, I've gained and, like, I wouldn't say lost tarot readers, but like, I followed some of them, and then after a while their messages just don't resonate with me, and then it's time to, and then magically, as soon as they don't resonate with me, another one comes in, and 3838 and resonates completely. So I don't know, maybe if the readings you're getting aren't resonating, maybe it's time to let go of that and let something else new come in. So if you have something old that you're holding on to, let go of it for something new to come in. Love you. I'm sending you so much love. Do I know what this was? What this was? Not really. I'm just going with the flow right now, seeing what needs to come out, what's to come out. It's time for me to rest now. I love you. Bye.